The history of angels. Discover the eternal role of angels in divine and human history, from their creation and guidance to key figures such as Abraham and Daniel, to their important role in the life of Jesus and the visions of the apocalypse. Immerse yourself in a narrative that transcends time, revealing the unbreakable presence of these celestial beings in humanity's spiritual journey. Chapter 1. The Creation of Angels. Before time marked its first second and space expanded under the divine will, there existed an immaterial realm, a dimension of pure essence and light. In this realm of ineffable harmony, God, the supreme architect of the universe, decided to manifest free and conscious spiritual entities, the angels. There are no chronicles written by mortal hands that recount this moment, but scriptures suggest it was before the foundation of the physical world, an act preceding the creation of light and matter, as hinted at in the cosmic dialogue of Job, chapter 38, verses 4-7, where the morning stars sing together and all the sons of God shout for joy. Angels were conceived as reflections of divinity, endowed with free will but created for the glorification and service of their Creator. Each one is a unique masterpiece, varied in power and purpose, structured in orders and celestial choirs, a divine hierarchy intended to maintain the balance and harmony of the cosmos. Their voices intertwined in a choir of perpetual praise, a symphony that transcended earthly understanding, resonating through the celestial spheres. Though invisible to the human eye, their presence is interwoven with the very fabric of creation, acting as messengers and executors of the divine will. They became bridges between the divine and the earthly, guardians of secrets and universal laws, designed to guide and protect the order created by their Lord. In this timeless era, the celestial realm was a mirror of perfect obedience and harmony, a testimony to the love and magnificence of their Creator. The creation of the angels, therefore, was not an arbitrary act, but a manifestation of God's infinite wisdom and goodness. Through them, a facet of the divine purpose is revealed: the will to share existence, to extend the realm of communion and worship beyond the divine essence itself. In this creative act, angels were called to witness the boundless splendor of their Creator and to serve and honor Him, marking the beginning of an eternal story that intertwines with that of humanity and the tangible universe. Chapter 2. The Fall of Lucifer. In the celestial hierarchy, one of the most splendid and powerful beings was Lucifer, whose name reflected his role as the bearer of light, a being of incomparable beauty and wisdom. But in the heart of this resplendent being was nestled a desire that would become the seed of celestial discord, the longing to equal and even surpass his Creator. The Scriptures, through enigmatic texts found in Isaiah, chapter 14, verses 12-15, and Ezekiel, chapter 28, verses 12-17, outline the tragedy of this celestial being, who, blinded by his pride and vanity, challenged the supreme authority of God. This desire for ascent and autonomy marked the beginning of an unprecedented rebellion in the heavens. Lucifer, with melodic persuasion, managed to seduce a portion of the angelic host, dragging them into his fall into an abyss of exile and separation. The war that followed was not only a battle for power, but also for the very essence of what it means to be a creation in relation to the Creator. Heaven, once a realm of unalterable harmony, witnessed its first conflict, a struggle that would alter the course of existence. The outcome was inevitable. Lucifer and his followers, now transformed by their rebellion, were expelled from the celestial paradise, falling into what would later be known as hell, a realm of torment and despair, far from the divine light. This fall was not only a punishment but also an act of divine justice, a manifestation of the impossibility of coexisting and rebellion against the source of all life and truth. This episode marked a before and after in spiritual history, establishing the existence of evil as a counterpart to divine goodness and justice. The fall of Lucifer serves as a powerful warning about the dangers of pride and self-sufficiency, revealing the depths to which even the most exalted beings can descend when they deviate from the path designated by their Creator. In the fabric of creation, This tragic moment highlights the value of humility and obedience, teachings that would resonate through the ages and civilizations, an eternal echo of a celestial battle that defined the contour of good and evil. Chapter 3. Angels in the Life of Abraham. The story of Abraham, the patriarch of the three great monotheistic religions, is intrinsically linked to divine intervention through his messengers, the angels. This relationship began on a hot day in the plains of Mamre, as recounted in Genesis chapter 18, verses 1 to 15, when Abraham, sitting at the entrance of his tent, looked up to see three visitors of extraordinary appearance. Moved by hospitality, Abraham received them with great honor, initially unaware that among them were angels sent by God. This visit was not only an act of blessing towards Abraham and his wife Sarah, but also the announcement of the birth of Isaac, their promised son, an event that seemed impossible given their advanced age. Later, in Genesis chapter 19, verses 1 to 29, two of these celestial visitors headed to Sodom to save Lot, Abraham's nephew, from the imminent destruction of the city. Amidst a corrupted society, the angels demonstrated both the mercy and judgment of God. They guided Lot and his family to safety, warning them not to look back, a symbolic gesture of the need to turn away from sin and move towards redemption. These encounters highlight the function of angels as facilitators of faith and fulfillers of divine promises. Through their actions, God's personal care for his servants is demonstrated, a recurring theme in the biblical narrative. Angels serve not only as messengers but also as protectors and guides, playing a crucial role in the realization of the divine plan for Abraham and his descendants. The life of Abraham, marked by these angelic visits, is a testimony to faith and obedience. The interaction between angels and Abraham reveals a profound truth about the relationship between heaven and earth. God is actively involved in human affairs, sending his messengers to intervene at key moments. These episodes underline the importance of hospitality, faith, and the willingness to follow the divine call, even when the path seems uncertain. In the story of Abraham and the angels, we find a powerful reminder that God's promises are fulfilled in often unexpected and miraculous ways, deeply marking the course of human history. Chapter 4. Jacob wrestles with an angel. In a critical moment of his life, Jacob, Abraham's grandson, found himself alone on the bank of the Jabbok River, immersed in anxiety about the impending reunion with his brother Esau, whom he had deceived years before. This night would be the stage for one of the most mysterious and transformative encounters narrated in the Bible, as recounted in Genesis chapter 32, verses 22 to 32. As darkness enveloped the scene, Jacob was approached by a divine figure, often interpreted as an angel, with whom he would wrestle until dawn. This struggle was not merely physical but deeply spiritual, symbolizing Jacob's internal struggle with his past, his decisions, and his destiny. The combat was intense and evenly matched, lasting all night, until the divine being touched Jacob's thigh, dislocating it. Despite his pain and weakness, Jacob refused to let go of his opponent until he received a blessing. This gesture of determination marked a turning point in Jacob's life. He would receive a new name, Israel, meaning, "he who struggles with God," symbolizing his transformation and the renewal of his relationship with the divine. This new name would reflect his personal struggle and victory and foreshadow the birth of the nation of Israel, God's chosen people. Jacob's dislocated thigh served as a perpetual reminder of his divine encounter, a symbol of his vulnerability and dependence on God. Through this experience, Jacob learned the importance of humility, perseverance and faith, and the struggle for what is right and true. His encounter with the angel demonstrates that the deepest struggles often precede the greatest blessings and transformations in our lives. This episode highlights the multifaceted nature of angels as messengers and agents of divine change. They fulfill celestial orders and play a crucial role in the spiritual growth and maturation of individuals. Jacob's struggle with the angel is a powerful metaphor for the human struggle for understanding, blessing, and reconciliation, both with our fellow beings and with God. In the story of Jacob, we see how angelic interventions can serve as catalysts for personal change and the fulfillment of divine destiny. Chapter 5. Angels in the Liberation of Israel. The narrative of the Israelites' exodus from Egypt is one of the most powerful and symbolic accounts in the Bible, highlighting the direct intervention of God in the history of His people. At the heart of this great escape stands the figure of an angel, sent by God to guide and protect the Israelites on their journey to freedom. Exodus, chapter 14, verse 19, describes how the angel of God, who had been traveling in front of Israel's camp, moved behind them, positioning himself between them and the Egyptian army that was pursuing them. This action by the angel symbolized divine protection against the threats and dangers they faced. The same angel who provided protection during the night also brought light to illuminate the Israelites' path, while plunging the Egyptian army into darkness, thus demonstrating God's continuous presence and providence amid trials. The angel's participation in the Exodus not only ensured the chosen people's physical safety but also reinforced the Israelites' faith in their God, who committed to freeing them from slavery and guiding them to the Promised Land. The opening of the Red Sea, one of the most celebrated miracles of this story, is often presented as a direct act of God. However, the presence of the angel before and after this event underscores the role of divine messengers in the execution of God's designs. The angelic protection and guidance become a tangible manifestation of the divine promise of salvation and care for His people. The liberation of Israel from slavery in Egypt, with the help of angels, stands as an eternal testimony to God's power and His unwavering love for His people. This episode marks the birth of a nation and establishes a recurring pattern in the relationship between God, His messengers, and humanity, a promise of divine presence, protection, and liberation in times of greatest need. Angels, as agents of this divine purpose, remind the faithful of all generations that, even in the deserts of life and in moments of greatest despair, they are not alone nor without guidance. The story of the Exodus reaffirms the certainty that, under the protective wing of the divine, seas of difficulties can be crossed towards the promised freedom and redemption. Chapter 6. Angels in the Life of Daniel. The life of the prophet Daniel, captive in the court of King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon, is marked by his unwavering devotion to God and by his notable angelic intervention at critical moments. One of the most emblematic accounts is his miraculous rescue from the lion's den, narrated in Daniel, chapter 6, verse 22. In this story, Daniel is thrown into the den by his enemies, who seek his death due to his loyalty to his religious practices. However, instead of meeting his end, Daniel is protected by an angel sent by God, who shuts the lions' mouths, thus saving his life. This miraculous act demonstrated God's protective power and served as a testimony of faith before King Darius, leading him to proclaim the greatness of Daniel's God throughout his kingdom. In addition to his physical protection, Daniel was also blessed with the visitation of angels, who provided him with understanding and prophetic revelations. In Daniel, chapter 9, verses 20 to 23, as Daniel prayed and sought mercy for his people, the angel Gabriel was sent to touch him and give him understanding about the prophesied 70 weeks, a message that revealed the divine plan for the redemption of Israel and the coming of the Messiah. Daniel's relationship with angels highlights a unique aspect of divine communication: angels as bearers of wisdom and revelation. Through their interactions with these celestial messengers, Daniel was able to understand the mysteries of the divine will and future times, information that would be crucial for the hope and identity of the Jewish people during and after the Babylonian exile. These episodes in the life of Daniel illustrate how angels play critical roles not only as protectors but also as instructors and revealers of divine truth. In the context of faith and adversity, the figure of the angel transcends mere miraculous intervention, embodying the continuous presence of God in the lives of the faithful and ensuring that, even in the most challenging circumstances, divine guidance and protection are assured. The story of Daniel reinforces the conviction that fidelity to God carries the promise of his providential care, manifested through his angelic messengers, who play an indispensable role in the fulfillment of his will and in strengthening the faith of those who remain steadfast amid trials. Chapter 7. The Annunciation to Mary. In the fullness of time, an unprecedented event occurred in the small town of Nazareth, marking the beginning of the realization of the divine plan for humanity. The Virgin Mary, a young woman of humble origin, found herself in the celestial presence of the Archangel Gabriel. This encounter, narrated in Luke, chapter 1, verses 26 to 38, is known as the Annunciation, a moment when heaven touched earth in an intimately personal and transformative way. Gabriel, sent directly by God, greeted Mary with words that would resonate through the centuries. "Hail, full of grace. The Lord is with you." The news that Archangel Gabriel shared was both astonishing and supernatural. Mary would conceive and give birth to a son, Jesus, who would be called the Son of the Most High. This announcement not only revealed the imminent miracle of the virgin birth but also established Mary's central role in the history of salvation. Through her humble and faithful yes, Mary became the Theotokos, the God-bearer, accepting her role in the divine mystery with unbreakable faith. The Annunciation symbolizes the intersection of the divine with the human, where an angel not only acts as the messenger of good news but also as a witness to Mary's free consent, a consent that would pave the way for the incarnation of the Word. This dialogue between Mary and the Archangel underscores the importance of free will and human cooperation in the divine plan, demonstrating how God chooses to involve his creatures in the realization of his designs of love and redemption. The presence and message of Gabriel to Mary emphasize the role of angels as messengers of the most pivotal moments in sacred history. This event not only set the stage for the coming of Christ, but also revealed the depth of God's love and mercy, extending beyond the confines of heaven to reach the human heart. The Annunciation, therefore, remains as an eternal testimony to divine hope and promise, marking the dawn of the new creation in Jesus Christ, with Mary, assisted by an angel, at the epicenter of this salvific mystery. Chapter 8. Angels in the Temptation of Jesus. After his baptism, Jesus was led by the Spirit into the wilderness, where he fasted for 40 days and 40 nights and was tempted by the devil. This period of trial, described in Matthew, chapter 4, verses 1 to 11, and Luke, chapter 4, verses 1 to 13, marks a crucial moment in Jesus' ministry, highlighting his humanity and divine resistance against the seductions of evil. Though the temptations were intense and challenging, Jesus overcame them all, relying on the Word of God as his unbreakable defense. Notably, this episode is marked by the comforting presence of angels after the temptations have concluded. Matthew narrates that angels came and ministered to him, an act of service and care that highlights God's constant attention to his Son. This angelic intervention not only provided Jesus with the necessary physical support after an extended fast but also served as a sign of divine approval of his faithfulness and obedience. The presence of angels currently demonstrates the ongoing and careful interaction of heaven with earthly events, especially in moments of great spiritual significance. The temptation of Jesus in the wilderness, followed by angelic meditation, teaches several profound lessons. First, it highlights the service-oriented nature of angels as messengers and caregivers sent by God to support his faithful in times of need. Second, it underscores Jesus' victory over temptation as a precedent for all believers, offering a model of resistance based on faith and reliance on God's Word. Finally, this episode reinforces the idea that although the spiritual journey may be filled with trials, it is not traversed alone. Divine support, often manifested through angels, ensures strength and comfort in critical moments. The angelic intervention after Jesus' temptation underscores the integral role these celestial beings play in the narrative of salvation. Acting as guardians and ministers of divine grace, angels offer assistance and comfort and remind us of God's closeness and his providential care for humanity, even in its greatest vulnerability. This episode, therefore, not only highlights Jesus' redemptive mission but also God's loving attention, who sends his angels to care for those who are committed to carrying out his will. Chapter 9. The Resurrection of Jesus. The dawn of the third day after Jesus' crucifixion brought with it an event that would change the course of human history, his resurrection. The women who had followed Jesus, filled with sorrow and devotion, went to the tomb to anoint his body, only to encounter a reality that surpassed all expectations. The Gospels of Matthew, chapter 28, verse 1-7, and Luke, chapter 24, verses 1-7, narrate how these women were greeted by angels, whose dazzling appearance and transcendent message revealed the miracle of the resurrection. "Why do you seek the living among the dead? He is not here, but has risen," they declared, sending the women to share the good news with the disciples. This angelic encounter at the tomb not only serves as a testimony to divine power over death but also illustrates the crucial role of angels as messengers of hope and redemption. The angelic intervention at this key moment confirmed the reality of the resurrection and provided comfort and guidance to those engulfed in grief and uncertainty. The presence of angels, therefore, was not just a sign of victory over death but also an affirmation of God's ongoing closeness and his commitment to humanity's salvation. The resurrection of Jesus, announced by angels, becomes the foundation of the Christian faith, an eternal reminder that death does not have the final word. This event signals the beginning of a new era of hope and eternal life, offering all believers the promise of resurrection and life in communion with God. The involvement of angels in this event underscores their role as heralds of the most significant moments in the divine plan, serving as bridges between heaven and earth and between God and humanity. The resurrection, with its angelic announcement, reinforces the notion that angels are key instruments in the revelation of God's will and power. Through their ministry, these celestial beings communicate messages of paramount importance and act as guardians and spiritual guides for the faith community. In the story of the resurrection, we see how angels actively participate in the unfolding of divine mercy and grace, reminding humanity that, even in moments of greatest darkness, God's light prevails, and his redeeming love envelops us. Chapter 10. Angels in the Apocalypse. The book of Revelation, the last book of the Bible, is filled with prophetic visions and symbolism, offering a vision of the end times and the fulfillment of God's plan for creation. In this context, angels play critical roles as executors of divine will, serving as guides through the complex tapestry of revelations given to John, the author of the text. From chapter 4 onward, Revelation describes how angels actively participate in celestial and earthly events that mark the culmination of history and the beginning of eternity with God. Angels are depicted carrying out various functions, from proclaiming messages of warning and judgment to provide protection for the faithful and executing acts of divine justice against the forces of evil. They are seen pouring out bowls of wrath, sounding trumpets that announce plagues and catastrophes, and participating in spiritual battles that take place both in heaven and on earth. Through these actions, angels not only reveal the seriousness of rebellion against God and its consequences, but also God's mercy and patience, which calls humanity to redemption until the last moment. In Revelation, angels also play a crucial role in revealing the majesty and sovereignty of God. Through their interactions with John and the events they trigger, God's supreme authority over creation and his unwavering commitment to justice and salvation are emphasized. The vision of angels worshiping ceaselessly before God's throne underscores the holiness and glory of the divine, inviting all believers to join in this eternal worship. The book of Revelation, with its rich angelic imagery, offers not only a vision of the ultimate destiny of the world but also hope for the faithful, the promise of God's final victory over evil and death, and the establishment of a new heaven and a new earth where he will reign forever. Angels, as servants of this divine plan, remind readers of all ages that, despite the tribulations and challenges of the present, the glory of God and his eternal kingdom are the ultimate reality towards which all creation is headed. In the grand drama of redemption and the final judgment described in Revelation, angels are revealed as central figures in the narrative of salvation, playing an indispensable role in the culmination of human history and the establishment of God's eternal kingdom. This final chapter in the story of angels underscores their ongoing importance in the divine plan, assuring believers that, at every stage of history and beyond, they are present as messengers, protectors, and executors of divine will, guiding creation towards its glorious destiny in the presence of God.